Hey, I'm Janelle and this is toDIYfor. So I have been wanting to do this project for quite some time. It was a couple of months ago that I spotted this at a thrift store. I thought it was such a beautiful piece and I thought, okay, this is it. This is the time I'm going to completely, fully restore a piece of furniture. Something I've wanted to do for a long time and something I didn't realize was so much work. About 2 hours into this project, I was like, what did I do? Why am I doing this? However, the end result is stunning and I am so happy I put all of the hard work into it. And I'm telling you, this is the first time I've ever done this. It just took a lot of research, watching other YouTube tutorials, following the directions and all the products that I was using. And really, when it came down to it, just persistence and a lot of hard work. Just goes to show you that you can do anything you put your mind to, and this was a very big test and a huge challenge for myself, but I'm very happy to share this project with you.
So here is the piece that I found. I thought it was so cute, but as you can see, it is in very rough condition. And that fabric is just terrible. It was only $20 though, so I picked it up at the thrift store and thought I could refinish it. Little did I know that refinishing projects is actually quite expensive when it comes to the products that you're going to need. This is everything I used, and it cost around $60 for me to buy. I'll get into more details about what you will need later. But first things first, I took this thing apart just with a few screws, and I unfortunately was not able to take off those shelves. Made the project a little more difficult, but the screws were completely stripped, so I had to keep it. So first things first, you're gonna use this stripper and you're gonna wanna be very generous with it. I learned that the hard way. Make sure you are picking up gloves that are made specifically for using stripper because this is a serious chemical. So I did not put enough stripper on my wood here and it's not really stripping off very well or easily. So I had to go back on with another coat. Make sure again, you're being very generous with this. You want it to be wet the entire 15 minutes that it is sitting on there before you scrape it off. So it looks a lot better here as you can see, and you're just going to use a putty knife and scrape with the grain, getting all that gunk off. It is a very messy job. You want to make sure A, you're doing this outside for ventilation, but B, also that you're wearing clothing that you do not care about. So the other thing you're going to need as well are these stripping pads. It's a very coarse, thick sponge that you can use to work in all of the corners where you can't really get at it with the putty knife. And as you can see, it pulls the color in the stripper. It just takes the finish off very well. I used it a lot on the legs, and boy, did it make my arms very, very sore. But once you have it completely stripped, you're gonna go in with these other pads. They're called finishing pads, and with either some paint thinner or mineral spirits, and you're just gonna work that in, and that basically takes off any excess stripper that is still there. And this is the point in the project where I was like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? The detail in this project maybe was a little much for my first project. So once you have completely stripped it and cleaned it with your paint thinner or mineral spirits, you're gonna go in with your sander. Oh my gosh, my electric sander saved me so much work here. I made quick work of this, and as you can see, it's very, very different, and the wood's really lightened up so we can get some new fresh color on there. Again, I wish those screws weren't there. Again, I hate all this detail and having to go in and hand sanding everything. I started with 180 sandpaper, worked my way to 220. And once I sanded the entire project, you're just gonna wanna wipe it clean of any dust and debris left from all of that sanding. And we can move on to the finishing part. So this is my favorite part. I have a red mahogany stain, and it's just the most satisfying to put this stain on your project. And look how beautiful this looks right now. Oh, I just absolutely love it. And that was enough for me for one day. I came back the next day because I needed to allow that to sit overnight, and I went in with my finishing coat, just some clear Varathane here. And of course I have the tiniest paintbrush I could possibly find to put this on. But you just work that all in, allow that coat to dry, follow the directions on the product that you're using. I went in with a 220 sandpaper here. You do that in between coats and sand that, wipe off all the dust, go in with another coat. You'll want to do at least 2 coats. This is just really going to protect your furniture and that finish as well. And here's just the simplest part of this project, recovering the seat. I found some green fabric that matched our place perfectly, stretching it on here with a staple gun, stapling it in as tight as you possibly can, and then I did the corners last and just tried to make them as clean and neat as possible. And when in doubt, just add extra staples. That is something that my mom taught me. And honestly, it might look like a mess underneath, but it looks perfect from the top. And you just put the seat back on, screw it into place, and it's done.
So all that work, I think I have to say at the end, was worth it. I'm so happy with how this piece turned out. Please let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below, or give the video a like. And honestly, I'm not a pro at this. This is the very first project I have ever done trying to restore furniture. There are people who do this professionally, or who take this very seriously in their hobbies, and I'm sure they would have done a much better job restoring this piece of furniture than I did. Certain nicks in the wood, I'm sure they could have gotten out, or stains. Still though, I'm very happy with the end result. There's always room for improvement on the next time I do one of these projects. And I'm gonna tell you, if you do ever plan to do something like this, it really is a labor of love. It is a ton of work. So make sure that it is a piece of furniture that is really important and special to you, a piece that you absolutely love, because you're going to be putting hours of work into it. And it's not exactly the cheapest thing to do either. Nonetheless though, challenge yourself and don't be afraid of new projects. Don't be afraid of new techniques, learning new things that you've never done before. That's kind of my motivation here in this video, because this was completely foreign to me, and I'm really actually proud of myself with how well it turned out. So go out there and try something new, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll be back next Wednesday with a new video. Cheers.